What up, guys? This is Matt from Exotic Life Labs, and I wanted to give an update of our aquaponics system. This aquaponics system I started a while back, probably about a month ago, and if you guys watched my last video, it wasn't quite as far along as it is now. Not only have we added a coupled aeration system with these pipes along here, aerating a thin stream into each unit, but we've also coupled the units together and bridged them from that end and from this end back over here, you'll see. And they're actually free-flowing from this end down here, around and back down here into the reservoir. So we've added this reservoir, which I told you guys I'd do a video about adding the reservoir. I did do a time delay capture. I didn't get a chance to actually edit it or post it. But we did add a reservoir for our floating plant, for the floating plants that we wanted to grow and at least maintain to keep the system alive. And our filtration system, which is a trash can in a trash can system, using some drip and filters and a whole bunch of media to make fresh water down there. Now we have a runoff over on this side, and we've been adding different kinds of little details and little things like that all over the place. But we've also added 10 shrimp tubs, and these are all growing Neocaridina shrimp, hybrid species of Neocaridina shrimp. So these are like my favorite, orange-eyed blue tiger shrimp in here. And I don't actually see one, of course not, when I'm on video. They're all hiding. We got snowball shrimp, blue dream shrimp, golden back shrimp, boneback pinto shrimp, orange sun-kissed shrimp, green jade shrimp. We've got yellow shrimp in this one, black rose, and bloody Mary shrimp. So 10 different shrimp species we're working on. We also got 3 or 4 different snail species, including gold rabbit snails, Japanese trapdoor snails, and mystery snails over here in this sucker. So a lot of life going on here just from the aquaponics standpoint. We've really stepped it up a lot. A lot of people were asking what these blocks were for, and so this is what the blocks are for. They were actually they were in place in the last video, but there was no pipe there and no aeration system yet, so you didn't get to see anything. And we already have babies in here. They're going to be hard to see, but we have some fancy guppy babies from our Dumbo-eared fancy guppies down here. And we got quite a few fancy guppies down there that have been breeding. So what else have we added? Well, we've added a lot more lighting, so we're up to actually, we have 6 lights. We've installed 4 of them so far, and we have done some incredible field work over the last few days, and that field work has resulted in these. And what are these, you may ask? Well, these are different life species that we have foraged out in the jungles of Florida. And for example, this is a moss that grows out in Florida on hardwood, and we are growing it here on Quire. Now this has been relocated here to be grown inside of this tub. And this is actually a terrarium tub, which is set up with a rock false bottom, charcoal, and a Quire mat as the substrate. So we've got quite a few different things that we've been collecting, not just this moss. We've got about 10 species of moss. But we've also been collecting some really, really cool living wood and rock samples like these. And you can see these are living wood samples that were collected in the swamps or in the jungle here in Florida. And not too far away, honestly. We go around to different places and we hunt down these things, and people love to put these in their living terrariums or aquariums. And so this is once again a terrarium tub set up with a false bottom. And if you want to know how to build terrariums, I've learned a lot over the last few days. I would definitely check out Serpa Designs on YouTube. Serpa does some great videos about terrarium builds, false bottoms, explaining the science behind it. And that has done us a lot of justice here at Exotic Life Labs. We actually use that technology that he talks about all the time to house these indefinitely. Essentially, once we build these, we can just leave them there and we don't have to really do a whole lot of maintenance on there. The water just recycles through the system, through the charcoal, gets filtered, cleaned, and evaporates and condensates back down on top of the moss over and over again. So we've also taken some of that moss and we have tried to spore propagate it down here on a separate mat, where we have just moved spores on there with a magic solution we came up with, and we are trying to propagate that over that way using just spores. Now in here, I'm not sure, what do we got in this one? Oh, I think this is probably more living wood. Yeah, and these are more living wood pieces that we have here. Oh, and some moss. Now, we have been out collecting quite a bit, and there's just a ton. Some of these places we go to, we barely scrape the surface of what's covering everything. But we usually come back with bags of moss like this. And as you can see, this is actually that green moss that was being grown in there, and this is the dried out version of that moss. When we find it, it usually looks more like this. We kind of bring it back to life, and we put it into that terrarium environment, and we breathe life back into it. And especially those wood pieces, you know, those wood pieces are really hard to come by. If you're building a custom terrarium, you know, and you want something that is very realistic, you want a living terrarium, well, there's nothing better than these pieces right here. These kind of things are just amazing. And we go out and first off, we find the pieces, and usually they're pretty beat up, so we end up having to do a restoration on the piece and then kind of bring it back to life. We'll do some planting on it, and we'll do some targeted growing, and then we will propagate that through the piece. And sometimes it can take us as long as a year or 2 years to make those pieces. So as you can imagine, they can get kind of pricey. But there are some people that are willing to pay for that level of effort and detail, and that's what we do at Exotic Life Labs. So we have gotten a few more shrimp species that I showed. We have crayfish, new electric blue crayfish coming, 2 new ones this week. Brute is here, and Mama, which is inside in her isolation chamber, she's carrying eggs. But we have another mating pair of electric blue and pink flash crayfish coming. So really excited. They will be going into these 2 tanks over here, and excited to get them in. So I just wanted to give everybody an update. This is what's been going on. Oh yeah, also we've been growing algae out there. Those containers are algae. You can see some algae in one of those containers. Actually, we've also been growing it in sample, in our culture sample bottles here, as you can see. And this algae is very specific strains of algae that are usually used for different things. One of these is a red algae that actually will bring out the color in shrimp. And when you're doing competitive shrimp breeding like we're doing over there, you want to have the best color in your shrimp possible. There's all kinds of tricks for that. One of them is this red algae. And then we've got a standard green algae, which is used in a lot of the foods for crustaceans. So we're growing those as well, just to play with them and see what we can do with them. Honestly, this is all new to us, so we're experimenting. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap this thing up. We're at about 10 minutes, you know. This is not so quick update from Matt at Exotic Life Labs. Check us out, subscribe, like it if you like it. Peace.